welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to Gaming and Onyx Path News. That's right, we've decided to start up a news bulletin show. We know that not everyone reads our blog religiously, we know that not everyone engages with us on all social media, so the purpose of this video series is to illuminate, in a hopefully digestible way, some of the releases and news that we have had over the past week. You might think in the run-up to the holidays that there wouldn't be much news, but we don't generally stop working until pretty much the end of the week before the Christmas break. And that means there's been quite a few things that have happened in the last few days. These are things that we might discuss on the blog, we might discuss on Facebook or Twitter, but there are going to be some things I tell you about in this video series that you're not going to hear elsewhere. So let's get started. The last week's releases were in the form of GM screens. So, if you're a tabletop gamer, you'll be familiar with the idea of putting a GM screen up in front of your work so the players can't get a sneak peek at your rolls, at your paperwork, at what you're writing about them behind their backs. But these are PDF GM screens as well. If you use such things in Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds to illustrate that you are the GM, or in various of our other games, Storyteller, Guide, Director, and so on. We've just released the PDFs of the Mage the Ascension 20th Anniversary Edition Storyteller Screen. We have just released the GM screens for Pugmire and Monarchies of Mao. And right next to me right now you should be seeing the art from those screens depicted for you. These are very low cost products, but they're beautiful artwork, and even if you don't want to use them as GM screens, you can use them effectively as desktop wallpaper. That's absolutely fine as well. I'm going to also be looking into whether you can still buy the hard versions of these, and if so, they'll be in the links in the description below. What else has been released in this past week? Well, this one is something that we may not have spoken about too widely, so here's some news. If you are one of the dragon-blooded backers for Exalted 3rd Edition, you would have received your backer PDF in this last week, on Wednesday. If you are one of those backers and you've not seen that the PDFs come in, do check your spam filters, do get in touch with us via the Kickstarter Contact Us button so that we can remedy that. Because if you were due the PDF, you should have received it. And that's a big deal, because we are delivering these products well in advance of the due date that we put out when the Kickstarter was initially running. And I have to say, it's taken me a long time to become a convert to Exalted. It was never my game, but since reading it for 3rd edition, this dragon-blooded book in particular has knocked me sideways. It's a beautiful book, it's fantastically written, and without doubt, the Dragon-Blooded are now my favourite splat for Exalted 3rd edition. I think a lot of people say that, to be fair, that they do have a very rich history, mythos around them. But please, if you are an Exalted backer, do check your emails, because that book will make for some fantastic reading over the Christmas break. We have another piece of exciting news in terms of releases, and this is a little bit of an odd one. This release is the Scarred Lands Fantasy Grounds set. Fantasy Grounds is an online role-playing venue, a virtual tabletop if you like. And of course, as with any online role-playing venue, you can play with gamers from all over the world, but Fantasy Grounds is something special because you can purchase books through that site. In some cases those books are freely available, and from those books you can export or import various stats, illustrations and so on to apply to your game that you're running through Fantasy Grounds. So if you want to show your players an illustration, bang, there is the book. And we've just started putting the Scarred Lands books up on Fantasy Grounds. Specifically the Creature Collection, revised, and the Serpent Amphora cycle. Now, these books are special, especially the Creature Collection, because those of you who are role-playing game history nerds might be aware that the Creature Collection for 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons came out before the Monster Manual for 3rd edition's D&D. This Creature Collection was the first ever bestiary, if you like, for 3rd ed D&D. Now this is the revised edition, so it works best for 3.5 and Pathfinder games, but it is easily adaptable for any, and honestly, the Creature Collection is one of my favourite books. I have it on one of these shelves, you may be able to see it. The artwork, the ecologies behind the monsters, I'm very fond of. The background for monsters, why they do what they do in the Creature Collections were always written so well that, frankly, I'm very much looking forward to an updated version. But that will be news for another time, perhaps. And as a slight tangent, if you're unfamiliar with Scarred Lands, Scarred Lands is a Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder campaign setting that's available on DriveThruRPG. You can purchase it. It's a fantastic book. I have the Pathfinder version. And it's a setting which, to summarise it, could be described as a post-apocalyptic fantasy setting in the very near fallout of a Titans versus Gods war. The world is littered with Titan corpses, and some Gods corpses, and you can adventure through the fossilised remains, or still warm remains, of these Titans. A description I've often used is if, for instance, you find the fossilised foot, severed foot, of the god of death, a titan of death even, you could adventure through it and you would find manifestations of that titan's purview, its portfolio. Lots of death creatures, because you are essentially rooting around inside the body, now a dungeon, of one of these epic beings. It's a wonderful setting, beautifully written, and I very much recommend you check it out if you're after a rather grim, horrific shaded Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder campaign setting. So on to Kickstarter news. As the hat may give away, They Came From Beneath the Sea is currently on Kickstarter, and as of time of recording, we have hit our funding goal within 48 hours. Now, some of you might be thinking that Onyx Path Kickstarters always fund within 24 hours, but not all Onyx Path Kickstarters are for brand new games and are released over the Christmas period. This was quite an epic feat for us to get They Came From Beneath the Sea funded within 2 days of launching on Kickstarter. This is a game that people are going to be coming to for the very first time. It's not World of Darkness, it's not Chronicles of Darkness, it's its own product. And it's very heartening for me as the developer of that game to see it funded so quickly, to see your support of it. It's still going to be running into January, so my advice to you is, if you haven't backed it yet, and maybe can't back it yet, just due to lack of funds, it is an expensive time of the year, click the Remind Me button on the Kickstarter, and we will send out a reminder close to the end of the Kickstarter in case your position has changed and you then want to get on board. Remember, you can back for a low figure, let's say $10, $20, and you will still get access to the full manuscript of They Came From Beneath the Sea by the end of the Kickstarter, because we're releasing that manuscript in bits and pieces throughout. So no matter how much you back it for, how little you back it for, you will still get access to the full text from that game. I released a video earlier in this week. You should see a little video playing above my finger right now where I'm yammering away, where I give an overview of the They Came From Beneath the Sea game and setting. So if you've not checked that out yet and you're curious, please give it a look. And also, elsewhere on this channel, also linked, is an actual play of They Came From Beneath the Sea. If you're not familiar with how this game runs, what it's about, it's one of the best places to start. And finally, there's also a trailer for They Came From Beneath the Sea, which movie director Larry Blamire put together for us, and it's a thing of beauty to my mind. Other Kickstarter news, and this is something you may not be familiar with. It's something I hear often is, I've missed this Kickstarter. I'm really bummed out because I missed a chance to pre-order this game to get access to the deluxe version of the game, the premium version of the game, and so on. Some people don't realise that what Onyx Path do at the end of every Kickstarter, usually about a month after the Kickstarter wraps, is put that book on Backerkit. And what you can do with Backerkit is get in at the exact same level as you would have on the Kickstarter. Some of the special pledge levels will be gone, but you can still back for a premium version of a copy of a book, or you can still just pre-order by going in on Backerkit. And this applies to games like Changeling the Lost, Geist the Sin Eaters, we have Dystopia Rising, we have Trinity. There are lots of games that I'm going to link below, and what this means is it's absolutely fine if you miss the Kickstarter. Absolutely fine. Those games funded, they're going to be released, and you can still get in at that Kickstarter stage if you back via Backerkit. So you did not miss the cutoff. A lot of people seem to think that they've missed the cutoff because the Kickstarter is concluded. Not the case. Use Backerkit because it's in the description below. I'm going to reel off all of the books, including Chicago by Night, which is still available to back. You can back it on Backerkit. Just click on the link below. What other news do we have for you? Well, we also have some exciting news about movement in our schedule, because we have games that have moved up the schedule toward release. And I'm not going to go through all of those. The best place to look at that is on the Onyx Path blog on theonyxpath.com. But there are a couple of books I wanted to highlight. A few, even. One is Signs of Sorcery for Mage the Awakening. Now, I mention this because I know that for quite a long time there's been a hankering for new Mage the Awakening products. People love Mage the Awakening. Its fans are probably the most ardent of any Chronicles of Darkness line. Be proud of yourself. If you're a lover of Mage the Awakening, we know that you're a fearsome fan of the game. Well, Signs of Sorcery has just entered post-editing development. That means we are getting close, very close to release. And there aren't many stages after that, so you can finally get your hands on a new Mage the Awakening book very soon. That just changed last week. Another change last week for all you World of Darkness fans is the Chicago by Night stretch goal product. Let the Streets Run Red, that's the Chronicles book, and the Chicago Folios. They have entered first draft stage. I have requested contracts for all of the writers on those books. I've been linking in to all the premium level backers of the Kickstarter who got to influence things like put characters in games and decide the fate of Prince Maxwell, that kind of thing. And we are going to start making ground on those books in the coming month. Undoubtedly, over the Christmas period, things are going to quieten down a little, but come January, we'll be in full force working on some new V5 products. I think that's it for the news, except for one last thing. If you run actual plays, or if you do reviews of RPGs, and you want to do that for any of ours, please get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me in the comments below. You can find me, The Gentleman Gamer, on Facebook, and you can get in touch with me there. And we can discuss about getting you copies of games if you intend to do actual plays of them, and potentially if you do reviews of them as well. Obviously, we will have to draw the line somewhere. We don't want to give away all of our products for free, but if you can show a passion for what your review show or your actual play show does, and especially if you present it in a way that is gripping a lot of viewers, we would love to have you demoing some of our games on your channel. A good example of this is Travis Legg has been running a Scarred Lands game on his Twitch channel, his group, and that's linked below. So if you are at all enticed by Scarred Lands due to what I said earlier in this video, or due to what you know about Scarred Lands, or just simply want to watch a D&D game being played by people who love the game, watch that channel, subscribe to it, give Travis Legg your backing, because he's a big fan of Scarred Lands and has created a lot of content for the Scarred Lands community content program, the Slarecian Vault. I think that's it from me. So, with that said, have a happy holidays, all of you, and I will see you for the next news show.